73, part 2 of Kenya's premier sports video podcast, the Three Quarters Podcast. And as usual, remember to jump onto the hashtag Road to Japan to support the Kenya Simbas as they are still looking to qualify for the Rugby World Cup in 2019 in Japan. I'm BMOTW.
And I'm Narokamuya.
Finally, we have a bad man of the week. It's been
like 3 or 4 weeks.
You know? So that will come from the Elgin Cup fixture,
yes.
Kenya versus Uganda.
Yeah.
I have a few people, actually no, a lot of people stood out.
Yeah.
Like, let me not even lie.
Yeah.
I won't even mention all of them, but I know I like how Isaac Adigo played, especially in the first half.
Yes.
Just creating those opportunities. He could see the the overlap before a few people saw it. Things like that. Davis Chenge just leading from the front. Elkins Musonye, he got in a few good tackles, crucial tackles.
Yeah.
Our front rows, well, especially the two props, I think really got things going in the sense that their performance in the first half was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, with the exception of the yellow, of course. On Somu, I mean, I hadn't even thought about him until today morning.
Yeah.
But he was getting that ball out really quickly.
Yeah.
Really, which I think, always kept Uganda on the back foot. But my bad man, and even though he got subbed off, was Jacob Oje.
Yeah.
I think his impact was definitely noted. And, just being... I mean, this is normal for a winger, but the way he runs out and cuts back in, and he's stronger than he looks.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's my bad man for this week.
I mean, Jacob Oje got a try. He was one of the guys that highlighted. He was not going to be my bad man of the week because he didn't finish the game. 1, 2. I think I've seen better performances from Oje. Not to say that he didn't have a good performance, but I've seen better performances from Oje. Isaac Adimo was the person who was voted, who was actually handed the man of the match award yesterday in terms of his distribution. What I liked about Isaac is, especially in the second half, and with the introduction of Biko Adama at number 12, it relieved pressure off him because you have somebody who can play at number 10 playing at number 12.
Yeah.
But he was still able to do his distribution work pretty decently. I mean, look, Biko Adama's try was because of his quick release. Isaac had his problems with field kicking. I'm sure he's going to be working on that.
Yeah.
Leo Seje, even from a stats point, Leo Seje had very high stats until he was substituted. But for me, my bad man of the week will have to be Davis Chenge. Davis Chenge, because he was very consistent throughout the game. His ball carrying, his crashing runs. He led from the front, and for somebody who was taking up the mantle as as captain for the first time, he definitely led by example. I will add and say this. I was actually talking to our producer yesterday and I was saying I feel very bad for never having mentioned this last year. I had my biggest problems with Davis Chenge at number 7, and I always thought that his natural position was at number 8 because though he does not contest a breakdown, he's very good in ball carrying. And I've always said that I don't think number 7 should be a ball carrier. I dare to say that I think he's found his position at number 8, and I think the technical bench of the Simbas should maintain Davis Chenge at number 8. So for me, my bad man of the week, hands down, has to go to Davis Chenge.
All right, well done to those two and everyone else who stood out in that game.
Yep.
So we move on to Kenyan rugby history.
Yes.
And we're still on schools.
Yes.
And this is a school that is really known. I mean, they are known for their rugby. It's not maybe where it was back in the day.
Yes.
But us guys of Saints, so St. Mary's.
Us guys of Saints, commonly known as Saints, obviously. It's a private boys' school owned by the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Nairobi. The school was founded in the Parklands area in 1939 as an affiliate or subsidiary of Blackrock College. So I guess now for obvious they understand where the name of the tournament, the Blackrock, came from.
Yep.
It's a college in Dublin, Ireland. So in line with the Irish traditions, of course, Blackrock being an Irish college, then of course rugby played a very integral role in the beginning of when Saints was starting off, and it's something that has carried over the years. Rugby obviously is a central concern, as I've told you, and a key activity designed to embody spirit, which is very big at Saints. So they've won the Prescott Cup multiple times. I think when I was in high school, they won the 2004 and 2005 titles. But they've won it a couple of times. They've won Blackrock 10 times. They've represented Nairobi at the national level a couple of times. When I was in high school, I know they only did it once in 2004, and they got to the finals that year, only to be beaten by Nakuru. Yes, Nakuru, a team that had Hastings Nyariki popularly known as Camp 4. Yes, I've just remembered. But yeah, together with RVA, I think I must mention that all the schools that have terraces, the rest of us used to watch our games standing by the side. And if you've gone to watch a game at St. Mary's, if you've gone to watch a high school game at St. Mary's, you're synonymous with the ritual and the routine that's there. They always warm at some pitch at the farthest corner of the school, and then they run up into the gym, and then the bell rings, and then they run out in their royal blue and white, and they sing the anthem and everything. So look, Saints has always been famed to be very technical. All the guys who come from Saints are very technical. And if you see over the years, of course, rugby now has expanded, but over the years, if you see the guys who've come from St. Mary's, they've been very technical. I even think about...
And the rugby IQ is among the highest.
Exactly, and I always think about the guys who are actually coaching right now. Think about Paul Olera, think about Charles Cadavelis. In terms from a technical standpoint, they're very good. So those are some of the two guys who are old Saints guys. Currently, I think, Kenya Sevens, we have Samuel Liech. We have David Ambunya, we have Ben Nyambu. We have, many people don't know this, but he actually didn't even end up playing for Kenya. John Alanamu was a KTN presenter, former news anchor.
Yep, also got Anthony Nyandigisi.
Yes, Anthony Nyandigisi. I must add another person from that famous 2002 team. He went on to represent Kenya at Big Brother Africa. He was actually Kenya's first representative at Big Brother Africa, called Alex Holly. So he was part of the famous 2002 Saints team. Yep. So yeah, that's our team of the week, St. Mary's. Unfortunately, in the last few years, and I think it's mostly to do with the administration. I don't think the administration takes rugby as serious as previous administrations did, and as such, the standards of rugby have really dipped at St. Mary's. So it's unfortunate, but that's how it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cycles.
Yeah. Cycles.
So we move on to the shorter version of the game.
Yeah.
Talk about the squad, the Shuja team squad to London and Paris.
Yeah.
So I'll just read out the squad very quickly. We have Oscar Yodi back as captain, Colin Zinjera, Andrew Amonde, William Baka, Billy Odhiambo, Jeffrey Oluoch, Herman Humwa, Nelson Oyo, Eden Aguero, Brian Tanga, Augustine Lugonzo, Dennis Ombachi is also back. Eric Ombasa being the 13th player. Yeah. So Oscar Uma's out, Oliech is out, and Sikuta is out. Yeah. But still, I think it still looks like a pretty solid squad.
It does. First, it's very good to see Dennis Ombachi back after he tore his Achilles in Dubai. So I've a couple of times I've been at Queens and I've seen him doing his rehab work. He's definitely put in hard work, and he does deserve to be back where he is. But it's a pretty decent squad. I get the feeling that Innocent Simi is actually reserving some people because of the World Cup that's going to be happening later on in the year. But all in all, as you said, it's a very decent squad. I think they'll be able to mount a solid challenge when it comes to London and Paris. And all the best to our boys.
Yep. Yeah. And we have the Lionesses travel to Gaborone, Botswana for the Rugby Africa Women's Sevens. Yeah. They played pretty well. Yeah. I know that the first two pool games, they played against Senegal and then Madagascar, beating Senegal 41-0 and Madagascar 42-0. They were in the quarterfinals against Zambia. They beat them 43-7. So they're now in the semis. We haven't got to watch that game. But chances are looking good for them. Yeah. They had a few key players left behind due to commitments and and whatnot. But even with the girls who've gone and with a few sort of newbies or rookies, they're doing really well. Yeah. I'm loving the growth we're seeing in the women's. I mean, fine, it's the shorter version, of the game. Yeah. But I'm loving what we're seeing. Yeah. Yeah. Just, of course, congratulations. We don't know how it's going to end yet, but you have to admire the work that Kevin Omboa and the Kenya Lionesses are putting in. Yep. There's a correction, though. It's Gaborone. Anyway.
Yes.
Yes, so we move on to Sport Pesa. Yeah. They're lined up to sponsor the Pro 14 final.
Yeah, so the Pro 14 is an annual rugby union competition involving sides from Ireland, Italy, Scotland, South Africa, and Wales. Yes, and Wales. The finals this year was between Leinster and Scarlets. Leinster is from Ireland, and Scarlets is from Wales, and Leinster ended up winning it. But that's not the issue. The issue here is that SportPesa decided to join the bandwagon and sponsor the Pro 14 final, as sponsors of the Pro 14 final. How do I feel about it? And again, it's my opinion. while it does make perfect sense for them from a business standpoint, and at the end of the day, that's what they're looking at, their bottom line. I guess there's a higher return on investment for them when they do invest there. I'll go as far and say shame on you, SportPesa. It doesn't feel too good that a local company can be going to sponsor the Pro 14 final, and locally they've pulled out from sponsoring at least the Kenya Rugby Union. And I understand, fine. They might say that the reason they're not doing that is because of the people who are in the union and money is being misappropriated. But what's also a company that's raking in the money that they're doing? What's so hard about assigning one person just to handle that fund? One person from SportPesa to handle that fund? Because look, we have the Rugby World Cup qualifiers. We have the Sevens World Cup. We have the Lionesses doing whatever they're doing. What's so hard about assigning somebody just to handle the money you have allocated to these guys? And then again, and this is
hire me. I'll do that.
And again, I come from a legal background, and I'm saying, what kind of contracts were this we were getting into where guys had the opportunity just to pull out when they wanted to pull out? It's very annoying. It irks someone when you want to see people invest more in local sports, but SportPesa are not doing that. What do? Their first thing is to run and go sponsor Pro 14 final. It's going to work well for their balance sheet, but to me, again, I say shame on you, SportPesa.
Well, if you're not going to start from home.
That's true.
Well, we move on to international rugby. So Super Rugby match day 15. We had the Crusaders versus the Hurricanes. 24-13 in favor of the Crusaders.
In the latter years, that has been the biggest game in the New Zealand calendar, because it's the two most dominant teams in the last 2 or 3 years or thereabouts. So the side from Christchurch, i.e. Crusaders, showing why they're the defending champions and showing why they're the favorites. I like Crusaders because they're very methodical and systematic and execute their game plays to the T. They don't have, per se, the best in terms of talent, but they know how to play as a team, and again, they're very conditioned. So feels very good. And for me, who supports the Crusaders, it feels even better. So for the other results, of course, we had the Rebels beat the Sunwolves 40-13. We had the Jaguares beat the Sharks 29-13. I told you, Curtis Olago, that the Jaguares were going to win. We had the Chiefs beating the Tars 39-27. We had the Reds lose to the Highlanders 15-13, last minute penalty by Lima Sopoanga. We had the Bulls lose to the Brumbies 28-38. And we had the Stormers lose to the Lions 23-26.
All right. So now, just before we wrap up, we had the naming of the 2018 Springbok team. Basically. So Razi Erasmus, who took over from Alistair Coetzee, has named his squad that's going to be taking part in the 2018 tests. I'm not going to mention the whole squad. I'll just notable mentions. Desmark Duplessis at hooker is back. I think he's going to be standing in for Malcolm Marx, who was perhaps the standout player last year. He's injured. Dwayne Famiolen has come in, and with the injury problems and fitness problems that Warren Whiteley is having, I think Dwayne Famiolen is going to be a good add to the Springbok team. We have Elton Yantis and Heinrich Pollard at number 10, perhaps the best collection South Africa has had at number 10. And not their usual textbook fly halves, but guys who can really get the backline moving. We have Francois Steyn, who's back from France, and Francois Steyn has been actually the only member of this team who was part of the 2007 World Cup winning team. It's funny that Francois Steyn is now an old guy in the team. And then so it looks like a good team on paper. However, the pitch is where it matters at the end of the day. So I'm looking forward to the international season, but I can tell you for a fact that this team has a lot of Springbok fans thinking about how they're going to be winning the World Cup. So yes, you do feel good for them, but look, at the end of the day, it's at the pitch. Game is always played on the pitch. That's true. But it's good to see new people, new players rather, coming into the system and getting or cementing positions. True, that's very true. Anyway, that's all we have time for today. Guys, remember, you can like our page on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Janine Duffy.
And I'm Nero Kabuya.
Stay tuned for part 3.